Nietzsche's lost year. From the ages of 20 to 21, it is said that Nietzsche regarded this year as his lost year. So it would have been between the years of 1864 and 1865, when he was at Bonn University. To understand why Nietzsche might have thought that this was a lost year, we need to have a brief resume of his life up until that point. I have said in a recent short that the existentialist, soft Nietzschean mainstream view that Nietzsche's childhood and teenage years were spent purely in feminine company, and that this somehow explains his views on women, etc. This is all complete nonsense. While it is true, of course, that his father died when he was 4 and he was left with his sister and mother, and his mother took the children to the grandmother and 2 aunts, this may seem on the face of it to be a feminine environment. The fact was that his father did not die immediately after a terrible fall, but recovered and relapsed before he died. And in that period when he knew he was dying, he wrote a will. And in that will, he made sure that the 2 children had a male guardian, a family friend who was a lawyer and would become a justice of the peace, so a very upstanding person. He would be their guardian and control their family affairs. So they had a male influence. Daxel would advise the children on decisions in their young lives and control their allowances. He took care of that side of the Nietzschean household. And also, it should be mentioned, and it's quite obvious in a way, that at age 14, Nietzsche went to Pforta. This is known as the Eton of Prussia. And what do we know about Eton? Well, it's a boarding school, isn't it? An all-male boarding school. So from the age of 14 until 20, Nietzsche was there 6 years. Between those crucial years, Nietzsche was in male company, an all-male boarding school run on strict military / monastic lines. And Nietzsche excelled there. He did some great work there. And while there, in this male environment, he formed a group called Germania, a little friendly association with 2 fellows, Pindar and Krug. And the idea of the Germania was that each member would supply a creative piece of work or an intellectual piece of work every month, and the other 2 would critique it, and so around the group. Nietzsche ran this group with somewhat military precision and was the most prolific of all the group. And some of his work from that group, which still survives thanks to, as usual, his sister, making sure it was kept. There are some good work, including poems and songs and musical pieces, as well as the essay, a very important essay on Byron, which includes the first use of the term Übermensch, and some work on the Ostrogoth king Eomanric. All in all, Nietzsche's time at Pforta was very productive and very character forming. And at the end of his period at Pforta, Nietzsche passed out with an essay on Theognis of Megara, a philological essay on the ancient Greek poet and aristocrat. And this essay was a complete magnificence, impressing his professors, and leading to him gaining in a few years' time, a professorship at Bonn University, as we know. But if we stop here at the age of 20, when he produced this piece on Theognis, he then goes to Bonn University, age 20, to study theology and philology. He studies theology really to please his mother. He has lost his faith by now and views theology purely through philological eyes. And he would drop theology within the year, much to the upset of his mother. And while at Bonn, he joins a student group called Franconia. This is how Nietzsche looked when he was 20. This famous picture. You can see he hasn't started to grow his moustache yet, although he will start to grow it later in the year, and it will never be shaved again after that. But here, age 20, the hair is long, and the look is somewhat arrogant. And here he is with the fellows in Franconia, the Bonn Society for Students. But of course, Franconia was nothing like Germania. Franconia's emblem was emblazoned on a beer barrel, and the main interest of the Franconians was carousing, boozing, wenching, and really sowing wild oats. And Nietzsche himself fell into this because he had been cloistered at Pforta for so long. And suddenly at Bonn, he found his wings and flew like Icarus into the sun. And he boozed until 2 a.m, writing home to his mother and sister, telling them of his exploits, making abject apologies to his mother for being drunk and disorderly at 2 a.m, and carousing the more and behaving in a totally obnoxious manner around the town, as students are wont to do. And it must be said also, visiting houses of ill repute. There is a story, is there not, that a servant took Nietzsche to what Nietzsche believed was a restaurant, and it turned out to be a brothel, and Nietzsche entered, surrounded by gaudy prostitutes and women of the night. He proceeded to the piano and started to play a vast improvisation, no doubt based on Wagnerian tones. Well, some speculate that Nietzsche, during one of these visits to a brothel in this lost year, contracted syphilis, and that this syphilis was that which brought the constant illnesses which dogged him for the rest of his life, leading to a breakdown in 1889. But that is speculation. Whatever the truth of the matter, it is a fact that he spent this year, his lost year, between 20 and 21, painting the town red and not really writing anything of import, which was rare for Nietzsche, as he tended to produce something every year of his active life, from the days of Pforta, even before, up until his breakdown in Turin. So what do we learn from this? That Nietzsche's wild year, his romantic, Dionysian, indulgent year, taught him that this was not the direction he wanted to go in. He needed to have solitary surroundings. He needed to work hard and to be sober. And his hatred of alcohol and boozing must stem from this year. The indulgence of that year taught him that he wanted to live a far more spiritual and solitary existence, working on his philosophy to be